Whispered Wonder Tales, a children's audio drama channel. The Adventures of Kiko, the Little Meerkat from the Kalahari, Chapter 2, The Valley of Whispers. The Valley of Whispers. The wise traveler knows, not every voice that calls your name belongs to a friend. But the truly wise also know, ignoring every cry for help makes you deaf to the world. Ancient Kalahari saying, "Welcome back, little explorers." When we last saw Kiko and his friends, they had just met Dua the honey badger, who promised to show them a shortcut through the mysterious Valley of Whispers. The golden melons were waiting. The time was running out only 3 days before the magic faded forever. Now, as Kiko stood at the entrance to the narrow canyon, he felt his heart beat a little faster. The opening between the red rocks looked like a giant mouth, dark and waiting. Cool air drifted out from inside, which felt nice after the desert. Heat, but it also carried something else strange, whispering sounds that made his fur prickle. "Stay together," Duma warned, his gruff voice unusually serious. "And remember what I told you, the valley plays tricks. No matter what you hear, no matter how real it sounds, keep walking forward. Follow me, and don't wander off the path." Tavi's large ears twitched nervously. But what if we hear something important? What if someone really needs help? Duma's small eyes fixed on the young fox. "That's exactly what the valley wants you to think. Trust me, I've been through here many times. The rocks and wind create sounds that seem real, but they're not. They're echoes of your own thoughts and fears, nothing more." Kiko touched the white star on his chest, remembering his grandmother's words about being born lucky. He looked at his 3 best friends, Boo-Boo standing solid and strong despite his worried expression, Shira coiled and ready, but glancing back as if already second-guessing the journey, and Tavi trying to look brave, even though his tail was tucked between his legs. "We can do this," Kiko said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "We've come this far together. We just have to trust each other and remember, it's not real." "Not real," Shira repeated, nodding. "Right, just wind and rocks." "Just wind and rocks," Boo-Boo agreed, though his voice wavered slightly. Duma grunted approvingly. "Smart kid. Now follow me, single file, and whatever happens, keep moving forward." The entrance to the Valley of Whispers swallowed them whole. Inside, the world changed completely. The bright desert sun became a thin ribbon of light far above, filtered through the narrow gap between towering rock walls. The temperature dropped, and shadows danced on the red stone surfaces. Their paw steps echoed strangely, as if someone else was walking just behind them. At first, everything seemed quiet except for their breathing and footsteps. Duma led them confidently along a winding path that snaked deeper into the canyon. The rock walls rose higher and higher on both sides, making Kiko feel very small indeed. "It's not so bad," Tavi whispered after they'd been walking for several minutes. "Maybe the valley is having an off day with the whole Whispers thing." That's when it started. First came a sound like wind, but it formed shapes almost like words, but not quite. Then, gradually, the sounds became clearer. Kiko heard someone calling from somewhere in the canyon, but he couldn't tell where. Duma stopped and turned back to face them, his expression stern. It's beginning. Remember, keep walking. Don't listen. Don't respond. Let's move. They walked on, but now the whispers grew louder, more insistent. The walls seemed to carry voices from every direction, some high, some low, some familiar, some strange. Kiko tried to focus on Duma's back, on putting one paw in front of the other, on anything except the sounds. But then he heard a voice that made his heart stop. Kiko? Kiko, my dear boy, is that you? It was his grandmother's voice. Kiko froze mid-step. That was impossible. His grandmother was back at the burrow, safe and sound. This was exactly what Duma had warned them about. But the voice sounded so real, so perfectly like her gentle, caring tone. Kiko, I've fallen. I can't get up. Please, I need your help. I'm hurt. His paws wanted to run toward the voice. Every instinct screamed at him to help his beloved grandmother. But he forced himself to keep walking forward, his eyes stinging with tears. It's not real, he whispered to himself. It's not real. Grandmother is safe at home. But oh, how real it sounded. Behind him, he heard Boo Boo make a small, choked sound. Kiko glanced back and saw his friend's face twisted in anguish. Papa? Boo Boo whispered, his tusks trembling. Papa, is that you? You? You sound so far away. From the rocks came a deep, rumbling voice exactly like Boo Boo's father. Son, come home. I need you to come home right now. It's an emergency. Your mother is sick. Please, Boo Boo, don't ignore me. It's not real, Boo Boo, Kiko said firmly, though his own heart was breaking. Remember what Duma said. Keep walking. Boo Boo's legs shook, but he nodded and kept moving, though tears rolled down his snout. Then Shira's turn came. Her bright green scales seemed to lose some of their shine as voices echoed from a side passage. Shira, Shira, we found it. We found the treasure cave. Come quick before the entrance closes. It was her brothers' voices, all three of them, chattering excitedly the way they always did when they discovered something shiny. There are jewels everywhere, ruby red rocks and sapphire blue stones. You won't believe it. Hurry. Shira's tongue flicked out rapidly, a sign that she was extremely anxious. She loved her brothers, and they were always getting into trouble. What if this time it was real? What if they really had found something dangerous? Stay with us, Kiko said gently, reaching out with his new gift, the ability to sense others' feelings. He could feel Shira's fear and confusion swirling like a dust storm. Your brothers are safe at home. This is just the valley trying to trick you. I know, Shira hissed softly. I know, but what if? Keep moving, Duma called from ahead, his voice cutting through the whispers. You're doing well. Don't stop now. Finally, it was Tavy's turn. The young fox had been trying to keep his enormous ears folded back, but they caught every sound in the canyon. When his mother's voice came gentle, worried, frightened, his whole body went rigid. Tavy! Oh, Tavy, my sweet kit. I'm trapped in a burrow collapse. I can't get out. I can barely breathe. Please, if you can hear me, I need help. I'm so scared, Tavy. Please don't leave me here alone." The desperation in the voice was unbearable. Tavy's eyes filled with tears, and he actually turned toward one of the side passages. "I have to help her," he said, his voice breaking. "What if it's really her? What if I walk away and she—" Kiko jumped in front of him, blocking his path. Using his empathy gift, he could feel the tsunami of fear and love crashing through his friend. "Tavy, look at me. Look at my eyes. Your mother is safe. She's sleeping in your den right now, probably dreaming about you. This voice is not her. I promise." "How do you know?" Tavy sobbed. "How can you be so sure?" "Because," Kiko said, touching the star on his chest and then placing his paw over Tavy's heart, "I can feel what you're feeling, and I can tell the difference between a real fear and the valley's tricks. Your heart knows the truth. Listen to it." Tavy stood trembling for a long moment, tears streaming down his face. Finally, he nodded and turned back to the path. "I'm sorry, Mama," he whispered to the voice. "But my friend says you're safe, and I trust him." The voice tried again, more desperate, more pleading, but Tavy kept walking, though every step clearly cost him dearly. Duma, who had been watching silently, gave a small nod of approval. "Well done, all of you. The worst is over now. The valley tested you, and you passed. Just a bit further." But then a new sound cut through the canyon. This voice was different from all the others. It was small, young, and genuinely terrified, not manipulative or pleading, just scared. "Help! Please, somebody help me. I'm stuck, and I can't get out." The four friends stopped. This voice didn't sound like family. It didn't pull at their heartstrings the same way. It was just a child's voice, crying for help. "Keep moving," Duma said, but his voice was less certain now. "Help! Is anyone there? Please, it's getting darker, and I'm so scared." Kiko's empathy gift suddenly flared. He could feel something, not the swirling confusion of the earlier voices, but genuine, raw terror. It felt real, different. "Wait," Kiko said. "Duma, this one feels different." The honey badger's eyes narrowed. "The valley is clever, Kit. It learns what works. Don't fall for it." But now Shira was tilting her head, her tongue flicking rapidly. "I smell something. Not just rock and wind. I smell fear, real fear, and tortoise." Boo Boo's nose twitched. "She's right. I smell it too. Something living is nearby." The crying continued, and now they could tell where it was coming from, a narrow crevice about 20 paces off the main path, partially hidden by fallen rocks. "Please, my leg is stuck. I can't move." Kiko looked at Duma. "What if it's real? What if someone actually needs help and we walk away?" Duma's face was unreadable. "We had a deal, Kit. You bring me a golden melon, and I show you the shortcut. If we stop for every sound in this valley, we'll never get out, and we'll lose our chance at the melons." "But choose," Duma said flatly. "The mission or the voice." It was Boo Boo who spoke next, his deep voice steady despite his earlier tears. "My papa always says that the right thing to do is usually the harder thing to do. If there's even a chance someone needs help, we can't just walk away. That's not who we are. The Adventures of Kiko, the Little Meerkat from the Kalahari. Chapter 2. The Valley of Whispers. Shira nodded, her scales shimmering with renewed brightness. Boo-Boo's right. We've been brave enough to ignore our own fears. Now we need to be brave enough to help someone else. Tavy wiped his eyes with his paw. And if it is a trick, at least we tried to do the right thing. That's got to count for something. Kiko felt a swell of pride for his friends. They had faced their deepest fears and come through it, and now they were willing to risk everything to help a stranger. "We're going to check," Kiko said firmly to Duma. "You can wait here or come with us, but we're going." For a long moment, Duma stared at them. Then, surprisingly, a small smile cracked his usually gruff face. "You know what? Maybe that star on your chest really does mean something, Kit. Let's go see who's crying." They carefully made their way off the path and toward the crevice. The rocks were loose and treacherous, but they helped each other Boo-Boo, using his strength to move larger stones, Shira scouting the safest route, Tavy's ears alert for any shifts in the rock, and Kiko leading them forward with his newfound sense of what was real and what wasn't. As they got closer, Kiko's gift told him with absolute certainty. This was real. Someone was genuinely in trouble. They reached the crevice and peered down. There, wedged between two rocks about 6 feet down, was a young tortoise with a beautiful patterned shell. His back left leg was stuck between the stones, and his eyes were wide with fear and relief. "Oh, thank the desert sky!" the tortoise exclaimed. "I thought no one would ever come. I was chasing a beetle, and I fell down here, and I've been stuck for hours." "Don't worry," Kiko called down. "We're going to get you out. What's your name?" "Themba," the tortoise replied. "Please hurry. I can't feel my leg anymore." Boo-Boo immediately set to work, using his tusks and snout to carefully lever the rocks apart. It took all his considerable strength, and the others helped. However, they could shear out wedging small stones to prevent backsliding, Tavy clearing debris, and Kiko talking to Themba to keep him calm. Finally, with a grinding sound, the rocks shifted just enough. Themba pulled his leg free, and with Duma's help, was lifted back up to the main level. "Thank you, thank you, thank you," Themba said, his eyes shining with gratitude. He tried to stand, but his leg buckled. "Ow, it hurts, but I think it's just bruised, not broken." Kiko knelt beside him. "Can you walk at all?" Themba tried again and managed a few limping steps. Slowly. "I'm sorry to be a burden. You were clearly on your way somewhere important." "We're searching for the golden melons," Shira explained. "We only have 3 days before they turn back to normal." Themba's eyes widened even more. "The golden melons? They're real?" "My grandfather used to tell stories about them. He said he saw them once, when he was young." Duma, who had been quiet during the rescue, suddenly spoke up. "Your grandfather, was he old Jabari, the tortoise who lived near the big Baobab?" "Yes," Themba said excitedly. "Did you know him?" Duma's expression softened in a way none of them had seen before. "Jabari saved my life once, many seasons ago. I was young and foolish, got myself cornered by jackals. Your grandfather distracted them long enough for me to escape. I always meant to thank him properly, but time got away from me." A heavy silence fell. Themba's voice was small and he spoke. "Grandfather passed away last season, but he always said the debt was already paid because someone honey badger once brought him water when he was dying of thirst in a drought." Duma looked away, but Kiko could feel the emotion radiating from the old honey badger's sadness, regret, and something else. Gratitude, maybe, or the weight of old memories. "Well then," Duma said gruffly, clearing his throat, "I suppose helping his grandson is the least I can do. Themba, would you like to come with us? We're heading to the Baobab tree, the lonely one beyond the sand mountain. That's where my grandfather saw the golden melons." Themba exclaimed. "He described that exact tree. I would be honored to come if I won't slow you down too much." "We're friends now?" Kiko said warmly. "Friends don't leave friends behind. We'll help you walk, and we'll all get there together." And so their group of 4 became 5. As they made their way back to the path and continued through the canyon, Themba told them stories his grandfather had shared, tales of the ancient Kalahari, of creatures long gone, and of the magic that still lived in the oldest places of the desert. The whispers had stopped. The Valley of Whispers seemed satisfied, as if it had tested them and found them worthy. Or perhaps, Kiko thought, they had simply proven they could tell the difference between fear and truth, between tricks and genuine calls for help. The afternoon sun was beginning its descent when they finally emerged from the other side of the valley. And there, rising before them like a wave frozen in time, was the Sand Mountain. It was magnificent, a massive dune that towered higher than anything they'd ever seen, its surface painted in shades of orange and red by the lowering sun. At the very top, they could just barely make out something on the other side, silhouetted against the sky. "Is that?" Shira whispered. "The Baobab tree," Duma confirmed. "The lonely one. That's where you'll find your golden melons." Kiko's heart soared with excitement and hope. They had made it through the Valley of Whispers. They had saved a new friend. They were so close to their goal. But as he looked at Duma, using his empathy gift, he sensed something complicated in the honey badger's emotions, determination mixed with worry, hope tangled with desperation. "Duma," Kiko said quietly, while the others were gazing at the mountain, "you said you'd tell us why you really need the golden melon. I think it's time." Duma looked at the small meerkat for a long moment. Then he sighed, a deep, heavy sound. "You're right, Kit. You and your friends have earned the truth." He sat down heavily on a rock. "I have a daughter. Her name is Zuri. She's small for her age, and about 2 moons ago she got sick. Nothing I do helps. She barely eats, she sleeps all the time, and she's getting weaker every day." His voice cracked slightly. "I've tried every herb, every remedy. I even asked the old secretary bird, Makana, who guards the Baobab tree. She told me that the golden melons appear once every 7 years, and that they have healing powers. She said if I could bring one back before Zuri gets too weak, it might save her." The friends gathered around him, their earlier triumph dimmed by the weight of his confession. "That's why you're helping us," Boo said gently. "Not just for a share of the melons, but because your daughter needs one." "I should have told you from the start," Duma admitted. "But I didn't want to seem weak. Honey badgers are supposed to be tough, fearless. We're not supposed to ask for help. But the truth is, I'm terrified. If I can't get that melon back to Zuri in time." He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Kiko stepped forward and placed his small paw on Duma's rough one. "We're going to get those melons. All of us. Together. And Zuri is going to be okay." "How can you be so sure?" Duma asked, his voice barely a whisper. Kiko touched the star on his chest. "Because I believe in friends helping friends. And because we've already made it this far. Tomorrow, we climb the sand mountain. Tomorrow, we find the Baobab tree. And tomorrow, we save your daughter." The others nodded in agreement. Boo standing tall and strong. Shira with her scales gleaming with determination. Tavi with his ears perked up in resolve. And even Themba, despite his injured leg, looking ready for whatever came next. As the sun set over the Kalahari, painting the sky in brilliant purples and golds, the 6 companions made camp at the base of the sand mountain. They shared the food they'd brought, told stories late into the evening, and despite the challenges, ahead they felt something that made them all stronger. Hope. Because sometimes, Kiko realized, the greatest adventures aren't just about finding treasure or magical fruits. They're about discovering what you're truly capable of when you refuse to give up on the people you care about. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Tomorrow they would face the climb of their lives. Tomorrow they would meet the guardian of the Baobab tree. But tonight, under the stars of the Kalahari, 6 friends rested together, bound by a common purpose, to bring hope back to someone who had almost lost it. And in the morning, they would begin their climb toward the golden light of destiny. To be continued in Chapter 3, The Guardian of the Baobab. Will the friends make it up the treacherous sand mountain? What tests await them at the Baobab tree? And can they reach Zuri in time? The adventure continues. This is the end of the story, and we invite you to listen to the next radio play on our channel.